Rogan put out an Instagram. Who knows if this is just a sort of like a certain amount of ego associated with this and just ignorance. And Rogan wants to come on like, people don't understand my show. This is what I do. But I don't care. I don't care that your show is really about your exploration for X, Y, or Z.
Yes, this is not like modern art that he's participating in. He's delving into science and pandemic commentary. So,
and look, this is what's amazing about this is play the first couple of minutes of this Instagram thing. This is what, like, even when he's ostensibly not presenting anything, he is presenting something. And does that mean that I should think that he should be banned? I think he should be criticized. And I certainly, let me put it this way. Yeah. I certainly wouldn't if I had a network, I certainly wouldn't put him on because I don't want to be associated with that. Because I don't want to be in a position where I'm pumping out stuff that I know could have a negative impact on the society's health.
It could kill people. Yeah. And it probably has. And so, like,
kudos to Neil Young. And if I thought that, I don't know, Spotify can do whatever they want, and people can also do whatever they want and treat Spotify in the way that they want to. Like, this is, this whole notion, like, this is censorship. No, this is commercial business.
It's a private company that is making a choice.
There's a million. Well, I don't know if there's literally a million places, mechanisms for Joe Rogan to put his stuff out.
If he decided to go independent tomorrow, he would have make a ton of money regardless.
Well, he was, exactly.
Or if he had to be independent.
He just wanted the big bucks, and Spotify wanted an anchor, and this is all just a business dealings. And boo-hoo if your business didn't work out in the way that you wanted.
Yeah, and my problem is, so I don't care I don't have a position one way or the other what Spotify does. I'm not in the room to make that decision. But what I have a problem with is the free speech people who are coming on and say don't censor Joe Rogan, lying about what Joe Rogan actually is. Edward Snowden, who coming tweeting out because I guess the bat signal went up to come defend Joe Rogan. Snowden saying nobody relies on this guy for medical information. He has people coming on that call themselves doctors and professors. Those people are trusted. So at least be honest. If you think that like that sort of charlatanry should be open to people, admit what it is and then say you support that. Don't lie about what he's doing.
Literally, Aaron Rodgers is coming on saying that that he goes to Joe Rogan for scientific information. Nobody
goes to Edward Snowden for media critique, except for the 214,000 people who liked his tweet. I mean, give me a break. That's not the society we live in anymore. Okay.
What do people go to Joe Rogan for then, dude?
They don't go to Joe Rogan for anything other than entertainment. But then they get medical device that ends up information that informs their opinion about these things. Of course they do. That's just completely disingenuous. So here is Rogan doing his Instagram where he's basically, supposedly, being, I wouldn't say apologetic, but saying
he had a stern call with the executives at Spotify, and they said that they need to you at least needs to couch this to take some heat off, and then he's never going to change.
Of course. But even in the first 3 minutes of the Instagram, he delivers more misinformation. It is very subtle, but what it does is it basically is creating the modus operandi in which you can distrust the public health policy that is being presented by experts. Watch.
Hello, friends. I wanted to make a video to address some of the controversy that's been going on over the past few days. And first of all, to say thank you to everyone that sent love and support. I truly, truly appreciate it. And it's been very nice to hear from you. I wanted to make this video, first of all, because I think there's a lot of people that have a distorted perception of what I do, maybe based on sound bites or based on headlines of articles that are disparaging. The podcast has been accused of spreading dangerous misinformation, specifically about 2 episodes, a little bit about some other ones, but specifically about 2. One with Dr. Peter McCullough and one with Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Peter McCullough is a cardiologist, and he is the most published physician in his field in history. Dr. Robert Malone owns 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technology and is at least partially responsible for the creation of the technology that led to mRNA vaccines. Both these people are very highly credentialed, very intelligent, very accomplished people, and they have an opinion that's different from the mainstream narrative. I wanted to hear what their opinion is. I had them on, and because of that, those episodes in particular, those episodes were labeled as being dangerous. They had dangerous misinformation in them. The problem I have with the term misinformation, especially today, is that many of the things that we thought of as misinformation just a short while ago are now accepted as fact. Like, for instance, 8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms.
Pause it. Now, first off, so let's be clear what he's doing here. He's now redefining misinformation and saying that the word misinformation doesn't really mean anything, because 8 months ago, if you had said the vaccine, you can still get COVID with the vaccine, you would get bumped from social media. Now, first off,
that's not true.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's just a lie. Period. End of story. You would not. We were just talking about some of the Yankees got COVID.
We were unsure of what the facts were going to be.
But then it was apparent that, yes, breakthrough infection is a thing, and everyone is just like, yes, that's a thing.
And then we adjusted.
But it still helps you. It still lowers the infection, and it still protects you from
to the extent disease. That anybody got bumped from social media, it wasn't because they said there are such a thing as breakthrough infections. It was because they were saying that the vaccine is ineffective in stopping COVID. And the fact of the matter is 2 things. One, it is still effective. It is not as effective as it was 8 months ago because COVID is a different virus than it was 8 months ago, at least in terms of the ones that we're subjected to. In fact, we're 2 iterations away from when we first got the vaccine. It was far more effective then than it is now. It is still effective, okay? I can go out completely. I can wear a windbreaker out when it's 32 degrees. It's going to be better than going out with nothing on at all.
And he's also conflating the infection rates with Delta when the vaccines were a bit more effective.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes. And so he's lying about the fact that people got bounced for saying there were breakthrough infections, and B, also ignoring the fact that 8 months ago, the efficacy of the vaccine was very different than it is today. It's not that people have changed their minds. It's that COVID
virus changed.
Literally changed.
Yes.
All right, but continue. And remember, he's all talking about this in service of undercutting the concept of misinformation. In other words, misinformation doesn't exist. So how could I be accused of providing misinformation? Go ahead.
8 months ago, if you said, if you get vaccinated, you can still catch COVID and you can still spread COVID, you would be removed from social media. They would ban you from certain platforms. Okay. Now, that's accepted as fact. If you said, I don't think cloth masks work, you would be banned from social media. Now, that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN. If you said, I think it's possible that...
Well, let's just take this fact. Cloth masks work better than no masks. And I can assure you, you can listen to this program when Osterholm, who he cites later in this, came onto the program and said, the fact is that an N95 is going to give you a lot more time in a room with other people, whether they're wearing an N95 or not. That also fits into the equation. But masks, cloth mask will help you. It is better than nothing. If somebody has COVID in the room, you want them all wearing cloth masks, and you wear a cloth mask in that room, you've got more time in there than if nobody's masked. That's simply the fact. And it was the fact then, too. What people got, and I don't know if anybody got bounced, was to pretend that masks were child abuse. Child abuse is what we were told by Tucker Carlson that they were. People were being attacked for wearing masks.
They were attacking.
They were told it's completely useless
because there was an advocate who was trying to speak to parents at school board meetings saying masks should be worn in schools.
Again, here he is trying to argue that misinformation does not exist, at least in this realm, because here are some examples that are in themselves false. Continue.
Cloth masks work. You would be banned from social media. Now, that's openly and repeatedly stated on CNN. If you said, I think it's possible that COVID-19 came from a lab, you'd be banned from many social media platforms. Now, that's on the cover of Newsweek. All of those theories that at one point in time were banned were openly discussed by those two men that I had on my podcast that have been accused of dangerous misinformation.
That theory wasn't banned. The president of the United States was saying.
Exactly.
You're just fucking joking.
Does he mention ivermectin and how one of his guests said it was a near perfect prophylactic, or is that one of the?
That one did not come up. That did not come up. That did not come up. The ivermectin thing did not come up.
You know how when someone's a liar, they conflate evolving and changing information with something like misinformation, and they set a standard.
Now,
they set a standard of absolute 100% foolproof facts that is impossible for the kind of situation that we're in, which is a global pandemic, to reach. It's impossible. And then that's how they discredit everybody else. Now, and they make their alternative fake information, fake news, false information more appealing in that way.
Now, here's the thing that's also sort of brilliant about this whole sort of free speech campaign. We're now going to be accused of trying to censor this guy who has a reach that is 50 times ours, more than 50 times. Which we're not saying,
yeah.
This is not censorship. To say someone is full of shit is not censorship. And for someone who has a platform, if Spotify wants to be known as the platform for people who are full of shit, then that's on them. There should be no inhibition on our ability to call this out and to say that Spotify has to be responsible for what they're putting out. And if that's what they want to do, that's what they'll do. But this whole thing of like, it's free speech and liberals don't want to be like,
and it's just jokes, and it's just jokes, and he's just a comedian, all that stuff. It's all bullshit. Be honest about what he's doing and then say you think that should be allowed because of free speech.
And if this wasn't about cash, you can be assured that Spotify would boot this guy immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately.
If Spotify doesn't recoup its investment on Joe Rogan, then free speech is dead.
And here's the thing. What wouldn't you allow on Spotify? Let's just play this game, too. Would you allow for, I don't know, open, not open advocacy of pedophilia? Not illegal. The advocacy of pedophilia in and of itself is not illegal. Would you allow for that? Would Spotify allow for that? Why not? Would Spotify allow for, I don't know, a whole host of stuff? Would they allow neo-Nazis to have a show where they just talk about outwardly, as opposed to sort of like couching it in some type of like, I have a PhD, so I'm discussing this.
Check out these demographics.
Would they allow someone like, I don't know, Bill Maher saying that the terrorists who committed 9/11 are brave, right? Remember,
but
the point is that person got canceled, and this person.
Well, no, but what I'm suggesting here is that there's obviously a limit. That everyone listening to these words has a limit. So it's not a question of whether it's free speech or not to be platformed by Spotify. It is a determination as to what crosses the line.
Substack or Spotify, neither of them allow nudity.
Yeah. Now, why is that? Why is that? It is because there are lines that they create and that they determine are okay. So censorship is okay with Spotify, with Substack, with all of them. It's just a question of where we draw the line. Some people say it should be at nudity. Other people say it's when you're basically telling lies about a pandemic that could get people killed. It's arbitrary either way. I would much rather have people see someone's buttocks on a Spotify show or on a YouTube show than to be basically told, yeah, you know what? You don't need to be vaccinated. You don't need to wear masks in this instance.
Yeah. Let's maybe associate free speech with things people like to look at as opposed to quacks and crypto racists.
Well, does he continue here? Because I want to.
Well, he goes on for like 8 or 9 minutes, but I don't know that there's really not really. I mean, that was the rest of it is like, well, he'll do a better job of bringing on guests and booking. Like, I appreciate this. Like, the guy's, he's in over his head, and he's incapable of assessing that. And it's a business model now that he doesn't. That's basically what he goes on to say. I'm just a guy. I'm doing a show. I'm just booking my show. That's all well and good. But there are millions of people who watch you, and you're delving into areas that you do not understand, and you're trying to be some type of iconoclast when it comes to medicine.
Talk DMT, bro. Talk mushrooms. Let's come on.
It's just real. I mean, it's really, and even in his so-called explanation, he is trying to undercut the concept of misinformation.
After bolstering the credibility of the two quacks that he's been using to inform himself.
Right. The guy who says that he invented mRNA, and then the actual creators of this vaccine,
he holds patents.
Have a bit. He holds 9 patents. I'm pretty sure Bill Gates has a lot of patents, doesn't he?
It's funny, though. A lot of people have credited Malone with being the, quote, inventor of mRNA before, even like Rogan does in this video, qualifying that in a different way, saying he contributed a lot and has some patents. So even they know he's bullshitting, but they want to cover for him.